Yeah. What? I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and welcome to another episode of Indie Breakdown, where we break down your favorite indie comic book character stats, powers, and abilities to determine who would end up winning in indie versus matchup. So today we actually have somebody else from the Concrete family, awesome author. You would not guess that she's new to the game, or rather how she calls herself the comic book noob. We're going to welcome up Carla to the stage. What's going on?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
For sure. So with that being said, we're gonna dive in. I want to know, first off, what is the inspiration behind the character Luna?
Luna is a queen. So I pulled from a lot of sources of inspiration. Number one, Luna was a figure in my, I guess, subconscious for many years, because I always would dream about her. But she never had a name, never had really a face, but she would just always show up when I needed her. So, I guess a part of that inspiration, comes from within. And then just looking at the many, the queens that we have around us, not only in our families, but also in our culture at this present moment. So Luna is kind of like a mix of all those sources of inspiration.
Okay. And then I love your story of how you got into writing comics. If you didn't mind sharing that again with the folks listening and watching.
Yeah. So many times before I've said that Chadwick Boseman was my inspiration. He was the one that his performance of T'Challa was what made me pick up my pen again. Because I used to write all the time when I was younger, but life happens. Things happen. So, I started writing again, and then I was like, I started writing. Luna was actually supposed to be a novel at first, but I got bored, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I can turn this into a comic book. And so I was already reading, some of the mainstream comics like Wonder Woman. But then I started delving into like the indie book scene. And that's when I discovered you all, Concrete Comics. And so and pretty much this whole entire year has been dedicated to the indie space. I haven't really dived into mainstream comics in a while. I'm still trying to catch up with, all the things that I've been getting from the Kickstarters and stuff like that. So, but that's my story in a nutshell. And that was about, that was around 2018, 2019. So I'm very, very new to this space still. There's still so many characters that I'm still discovering. And so.
Fair enough. Okay. So now moving into Luna and what all she could do. Tell us. Tell us what she could do. Let's just start from what's her power set. What does she got? What's she bringing to the table?
Well, I have my trading card here for Luna.
Okay.
So, these I just discovered this company that makes like trading cards for whatever, and so I made trading cards for Luna to offer like in upcoming Kickstarters, and of course, the conventions that I'm hopefully going to be accepted to vend at. So, her power set is going to get stronger and stronger as she goes on. Okay, because at this point in time, we do know she has a connection to the moon. So some of her earlier powers that we see are going to resemble those that you might see coming from someone who has a connection to the moon. So, so she right now in the story, she has the ability to emit a ceoplasmic biofield from herself. And it looks like once it manifests, it looks like a big sphere or cloud. And Ian, the artist, kind of made reference to that in this very first page I have in the background. You see the pinks. It's kind of looks like that, So Ian is the artist, and he, kind of gave us a foreshadow of her powers in the first part, in the very first page. And then as the story goes on, she will, and this ceoplasmic biofield is very strong. It's actually impenetrable. There's only one person that can penetrate it. but it's pretty much impenetrable. And if you are caught as she is forming it, it can kill you. But everything inside of it is safe. But you know, if you try to, you're not going to be able to break it. It's like impenetrable. So then as the story goes on, she's of course is going to be able to manifest powers that we associate with the moon today. For example, she's able to control water.
Okay.
We know that the moon has a very the moon is connected to our oceans and our waves.
Mhm.
So she'll be able to control water in a sense. She also has an influence over animals. So she doesn't control animals, but
Mhm.
she has a connection to animals as well. She has the ability to reflect light, just like the moon. She can burn red. She of course she has super strength, durability, stamina, and she can fly. Um, and then I haven't quite really figured out how I'm going to do this, but I do. She is an empath, but that's only
Okay.
when she's manifesting her powers. So, but I haven't quite narrowed in on how I want that to manifest itself. And then lastly, she had, because she's an empath, she has the ability to sense others' presence and energy, and that will allow her to kind of not necessarily time travel, but she'll use that power to connect to people of the past and the future. So she's very powerful,
Mhm.
but she has not manifested all her powers quite yet. So in this part of her story, she's still just beginning to rediscover her powers that were suppressed as she was a child. So but that is her full power set that will eventually be, um, you
Expounded
know,
on.
yeah. But right now, she's not there yet. She's not there yet.
Okay. So it's funny you said that. I did jot that down. I was going to ask what were the suppressed powers initially. So,
Mhm.
um, two things. So, in regards to suppressed powers, a lot of these that you listed at the moment are sort of suppressed, but she has some type of access to it currently. But she's not
She
at her
she
top
doesn't
form yet.
she doesn't. You remember how Jean didn't know, depending on which storyline you read,
Mm-hmm.
um, he did not know she had a connection to the Phoenix. So in
Right.
some storylines, she was the Phoenix, and other storylines, the Phoenix, kind of embedded, took over her body.
Mm-hmm.
But just think about the storyline where Jean was, she was inside her subconscious was the Phoenix. So that's kind
Okay.
of how Luna is. She doesn't know she's this powerful yet. And in the first issue, we saw that her parents suppressed her powers because of something. But there's a
Yeah.
reason why they did so. So she is just now kind of awakening and finding out that she actually is of the energy, and she will, as different events unfold, those powers will be kind of like pushed to the forefront. But she doesn't know she has this power yet. She doesn't even know, she's not even aware of that she has this power set yet.
Oh, okay. So
Mhm.
then, next question. So, with the energy keepers and stuff like that, I remember that in like the kind of preface, I guess, at the beginning of the book. So she's an
Mhm.
energy keeper. Can you dive into
Mhm.
what that is and how that directly affects her? And I'm jotting notes down. I have other questions too. I just don't want to forget them.
Okay, so energy keepers are like our future heroes of the universe.
Okay.
So Luna's story takes place thousands of years into the future, and old Earth is gone. Our heroes are gone. So the energy keepers is like this new generation of heroes. And I call them energy keepers because they are the keeper of the universe's energy. So everything that comes with the universe, all the flight, strength, cosmic connection, these are what these energy keepers hold. Some are good, some are bad. So but Luna obviously is on the side of right. So she is
Mhm.
going to use her powers as an energy keeper to protect her kingdom, protect her peace, and save her people.
Okay. So let me ask this: since they're on a new planet and all of that, they're still essentially humans, but are they any more durable or stronger on like the standard level? Like I know, of course, she's an energy keeper, so she's she's gonna be stronger. She's gonna have a power set, what have you, like that.
Mhm.
But is this new generation of humans? I was gonna say Earthlings. They're not really
Mhm.
Earthlings necessarily, but humans, if you would, are
Mhm.
they naturally stronger, or are they more durable and all of that, or are they just like us, but several have more or more attuned to the universe itself?
That last part. So
Okay.
our descendants will be more in tune with the universe because they've learned from thousands and thousands of years of humans trying to do things their way. That way doesn't work, you know. So our descendants have learned how to become one with the universe, which means that the universe will give back to them, meaning it will unlock its secrets and give that to them. So some are energy keepers, but most are, you know, yes, they're a little bit stronger than us. They're a
Mhm.
little bit wiser than us, um, but they're still regular compared to the energy keepers. But
Okay.
it's more like they're a more perfect version of us because they have learned what it means to live with the universe as opposed to trying to constantly fight it and take what they can from it.
Okay. Now I have like 2 pages of notes here. I'm sorry. um. So we see her, and in that picture in the background, so
Mhm.
she's training, obviously. So she has some type of fight training. What type of martial arts or what type of training does she have? Obviously, of course, the year is like 10,000, so the arts look a lot different or what have you.
Yeah.
But what are we looking at in regards to her fighting ability, her skills and technique?
So I really haven't given it a name, and I actually have not given it much thought as to
Okay.
what type of hand to hand combat she's proficient at. But
Hmm.
she can hold her own in a fist fight.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't call her the most skilled. She's no Catwoman, you know, no
Okay.
less,
Fair. Fair.
but she can hold her own, but she will use her powers more. So, but you know, here in this scene, she's sparring with someone, and she does keep from a very early age. She's always known how to fight. As a queen, she's supposed to know how to fight. And she does engage in hand to hand combat in certain parts of the story. But she can hold her own. But you know, I wouldn't call her, you know, an expert or anything. She's more of like if you
Okay.
attack her, she will defend herself.
Okay. And you said
Mm-hmm.
from a young age, so she's been somewhat consistent with some sort of training in regards to fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
I see, and it was called the biosphere.
Yeah. And so I call it a ceoplasmic biofield. So
Biofield. I'm sorry.
so she can emit this biofield from her body that resembles in its full form like a cloud or a moon or you know whatever you want to call it, you know. So
How far out does that extend? Do you have a kind of general size of of the biosphere?
okay, you will see it in issue 2.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You will see it in issue 2. I don't want to give nothing away, so you will see particular power manifested in issue 2.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, to avoid spoilers, of course, we could assume that it's bigger than her person.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, of course. Hmm.
Media vicinity. Okay, and of course, I by no means want to dive too deep to do any
Hmm.
spoilers or anything like that. Definitely don't want to do that because we want people to go in and make sure to read it and all that good stuff and have, well, of course, obviously stuff to look forward to. So in regards to her strength, how strong is Luna? Is she as strong as a normal person, or like, as you know, average person? Is she peak levels of human physique, or does she go beyond that?
Right now she is at like I would say peak human. No, that's actually not true. Because I'm thinking about what happens in issue 2. So issue 1, we saw her, you know, we saw her basically in her normal form. But
Okay.
issue 2, she's been awakened. She's been awakened. Her powers within have been awakened. So she's not I wouldn't call her a demigod level, like Wonder Woman, but she's definitely getting stronger and stronger every day, to the point where the person that she's sparring with is a known, he's a known energy keeper, and he's very strong, very powerful, and she's sparring with him without using her powers. So,
Oh,
and so she's becoming more and more, becoming stronger. So, and eventually, obviously, she's going to be one of the more powerful energy keepers in the story. So, I guess for comparison purposes, she can, not at this moment, but she will,
okay.
like, once she reaches her peak, she'll be able to go toe to toe with, I would say, like Wonder Woman or Nubia. But not now, but not yet. She'll get beat up. She'll get beat up right now
Uh, okay.
by
You said
Nubia.
don't have her walk up to them right now.
Yeah, not right now, but at her, once she gets to that point, she will be able to, I would say, give them a good fight. Mhm.
Okay. Now, can I assume that stamina and durability are about that same level as well, kind of
Mhm.
somewhere between peak and beyond, somewhere in that range?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. She can go, there, I don't know if I'm going to include it, but there was a scene that I wrote later in the story where she's able to hold her breath for like an hour. So, but I don't know if I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm going to include that particular scene, but she definitely has, because she has the energy, and this energy is growing within her. She has
Mhm.
the ability to last longer. She can take more hits, more punches. She can get hit by a tree and get right back up. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it's the power level isn't there yet, but she's getting there. You know.
It's an innate thing that's kind of still
Mhm.
growing though.
Exactly.
Okay. So next question then, if say for sake of conversation, obviously they're on a different planet, but is she able to survive out in space? And let's just say a hypothetical scenario, whatever like that. They're in a ship, blows up, but she survives the explosion. Can she breathe in space? Can she handle that kind of environment?
So her powers come from the moon. So as
Oh,
long
right.
as she
Okay.
has a moon within her, I would say within thousands of miles, because the moon is thousands of miles from us. As long as she can connect, can take that energy, siphon that energy from the moon, she's powerful. But as soon as you take her out of that element, just like Superman, as soon as you take him out of his element,
Yeah.
his power begins to diminish. You're not going to be able to kill her right away, but she
Mhm.
definitely will not be getting stronger. She'll be getting weaker. So
Okay.
she always has to have access to a moon of the planet that she's on.
Now, with her getting powers from the moon, let's say she's in a system or near a planet that has multiple moons. Is she able to pull from all the nearby moons, like just kind of stack that ability on top of each other like that?
Yeah, she can. She can pull from, as long as it's almost like you press a button and it exponential growth. She can definitely, as long as it's a moon, she can pull from it. So if she has two moons, she's
Jesus.
pulling double the energy. She has three, triple.
Okay. And then it's a proximity thing. You said within thousands of miles of each other and stuff like that. So, you're
Mhm.
around a Jupiter and Saturn, it's just like, yep, give me all of that. And then
Mhm.
still again, even beyond, potentially even reaching stuff. So take a conversation. If she's in our solar system, she could pull from all the moons in said solar system, proximity wise.
I mean, obviously she's here on Earth. She'll be able to pull from, Earth's moon, and then maybe
Mhm.
the neighboring planets
I see. I see.
moons, but not like, what Saturn is all the way out there. Probably not Saturn's. Like it has to
Fair.
be within yeah. I had to give her a kryptonite. I didn't want her to
Okay.
be too all powerful because that would equate her to some type of god. So, but she has her limits. So if the enemy knows that, they will use that to their advantage. So
Okay. So to what degree then, right? So you mentioned earlier the tides and all of that, or some level of control of water and stuff like that. to what level of control does she have on that? And that would be the same question in regards to reflecting light and stuff like that. Is this kind of a almost natural mastery over it? And that the thing I would compare it to would be like a Gaara from Naruto, where it's just if it's sand, he's controlling it. Like that's point blank period. So in this case, for her, if there's water around, she essentially would be able to control that and light the same way. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yeah, so she's not no avatar, like she's no
Okay.
you know, she's not a controller of elements. So when you
Oh.
think of the moon and gravity and the earth spin, the waves naturally, you know, make the ocean naturally makes their waves, hits against the coast and stuff like that.
Mhm.
She's kind of the same way. When you put her on top of the ocean, and she will be able to create this energy that will have an effect on the water. So she's not controlling the water,
Mm.
but when she gets, you know, emotional, when she gets angry, she will have an effect on the water because of her natural connection to the moon. You know what I mean?
I
So
see.
she can influence water if she and maybe later maybe I'll develop that part of her, but I'm trying to keep her powers
A bit
within the
tame.
lines of the connection to the moon.
I
So and
see.
then the animals are the same way. You know, as humans we're affected by the moon.
Mhm.
We know wolves are. We know certain animals are. Just when they look at the moon, they are triggered. They are drawn to the moon. They might be repelled by the moon. You know, so it's not that she is controlling these elements. It's that just she has an influence over them. And sometimes
Mm.
spoken connection, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's kind of like an afterthought, like an after power. You know, it's not like something
Got
she
you. It's like a direct response to her existence in any given
Mhm.
area.
Yeah, right. So if
Okay.
she's walking through the forest, the animals will come up to her because that's like, wow, you know, she feels familiar to me. You know, she's familiar to me. I'm drawn to her. But
Mhm.
it's not as if she can talk to them. It's not as if she, you know, and you know, I say it, which allows her to control water and animals. That's probably very misleading, but she has an influence over water. She has an influence over animals. So,
Okay.
mhm.
Which still, like, even if it's not a direct like Aquaman, hey, I'm commanding you to do this, because there's
Mhm.
this level of familiarity, though. I still imagine at some point they would still kind of almost protect her in a sense.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She does
Now.
have a connection to the moon. She has a connection to the elements around her, just like the moon has a connection to Earth. So, mhm.
Okay. Now, I do want to ask about how fast she can move. I know you mentioned that she can fly and stuff like that. Yeah, how fast is Luna moving, whether it's in the air or on foot?
Haven't thought about that.
Okay.
And the issue too, we do learn that she can outrun her palace horses at this point. So let me say, what horse might run at 50 miles an hour? I don't know. I have no idea what a horse runs at, but
Uh,
she
but
just to kind
she's
of just to give the
okay.
readers something to kind of understand how fast she's becoming. So that's on land though. I haven't really explored how fast she is in the air because we have another energy keeper that's going to make an appearance that is actually on the level of, you know, I wouldn't say as fast as the Flash,
Hmm.
not nearly as fast, but she will be like she would be fast. She's going to be super fast, and that's going to give Luna a run for her money. So but she on land, I don't know about air, but on land she can outrun a horse, you know. So yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And then reaction, right? So sake of conversation. Obviously, hand to hand combat, she's gonna have some decent reaction speed and stuff like that. But let's say we put her in a Watchmen type situation. She's obviously completely different stories, completely different stars, stuff like that. But if somebody's trying to shoot at her and stuff like that, or Wonder Woman, right? How she's able to block and stuff like that. is Luna able to react to that kind of speed, or even beyond that?
So Luna naturally will probably put up her biofield. So
I see.
she will be able to, because she is connected to the elements, to the environment around her. She will be able to sense when there's danger. She's able to see when something's coming at her, and she would naturally put up her biofield. So she will. It's almost like a shield for her.
Okay.
Right, and she right now she's learning. We learn how to defend ourselves first before we learn how to actually fight and throw a punch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where she is right now. She's learning how to protect her space, protect her people, protect her family. So she's her powers are kind of in defense mode. Like, you come after me, I'm gonna defend it. But she is going to eventually learn with these other sets of powers how to go on the offense. So right now, her response, if she was being attacked, her response would be to put up her shield.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that for me, that kind of adds like, okay, so she's able to perceive things that's moving super fast, but also that biosphere is able to adjust. Either is it the activation of it? It's not a subconscious thing. She's able to perceive and feel those threats, and then she's like, nope, time to activate this. It's going down. Is that kind of
Eventually, I
okay?
can't give it away. We
That's
will
fair.
see, I can't say we will see that evolution of this new this first power of her being able to emit her biofield in issue 2. I can say that for sure, but I don't want to tell you how it happens because it gives away the story. So, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, please don't. No, let's not mess that up.
we will see an evolution of her powers in issue 2. And then, of course, in later issues, we'll see even more of her powers. So these are some good questions, Lloyd. I never thought about, like, how fast can she run and how fast can she fly. But if you can kind of visualize it, I guess if I visualize how fast she runs, it would probably be like, you remember in Endgame where they were running, or maybe Infinity War. I think it was Infinity War.
Yeah, in Wakanda, and they were running the charge.
Yeah, they were running. So, and we saw T'Challa and Captain America kind of outrun all of them. She would be right in there, that top 3 at this in her, and that's probably, like I said, as she gets more powerful, she'll get faster. But she can give them, a run. And even Wonder Woman, when she was on the highway, she was out. She's in that kind of that league at this moment in time.
Okay, I got.
But now that I can think about some examples,
I was gonna say I have 2 more. I have 2 more questions for you. One, does she utilize weapons? Are there any like weapons at her disposal as herself, but also being the queen? What does she have on her disposal? Say somebody attacks the planet or the palace, if you would.
Well, she doesn't normally carry her weapon, but she does have a weapon. Everyone in the palace is trained on a weapon. Just like with her learning how to defend herself, she was taught how to carry a weapon. Again, I haven't given it a name in the story because the focus is obviously her powers. But yeah, she does carry a weapon when needed. But she eventually, that's not, a weapon's not going to be needed. She is the weapon.
Right. Okay. So last one. This is more of a story question that I had a question about, and I don't know if you could tell us, but I do want to ask. When in issue 1, if you all are listening or watching and you haven't read Luna #1, kind of spoilery because this is like midway to close to the end of the issue. So go stop here, go and read it. It's on their Patreon, or you can just visit the website and get the digital or physical copy, Concrete Comics. Okay. Spoiler warning. Okay. So when the time traveler showed up and they're talking to Luna and all of that, and Luna brings up something along the lines of those portals, they've been closed. So was time travel a possibility in the past, and they were just like, we can't keep delving into this? Is it possible to dive into the time travel aspect of the
Mhm.
universe.
So it was kind of a reference to the foolishness that happened with Endgame. And how
Okay.
they use their time travel abilities to, gather the stones again, bring everyone back. But also Thanos, he was able to utilize that same power.
Mm-hmm.
So it was after those events, and maybe a few more foolish, shenanigans that happened. The universe collectively decided to close the time portals. So
Okay.
governments from all over the universe said, you know what, that's it. We can't risk opening up the multiverse. We can't risk doing this. We can't do any. We just gonna close them for good, and we're not going to have, hopefully this the stuff that happened to our ancestors thousands of years ago will never
Mhm.
happen again. So it was kind of a reference to that,
Okay.
that did that. So again, Luna's ability to time travel is not necessarily linked to her ability to teleport into the past or future, but
Mhm.
she has the ability to, she will develop this ability to sense others. And just like the moon is timeless, she's going to become this energy that can sense things of the past and sense things of the future,
Ooh.
including people. So again, that's later in the story, because
Mhm.
that's not actually a power that I need her to have at this moment. But
Yeah.
later, just like with the moon, it's been there for millions and millions of years.
Mhm.
She's going to have this ability to, go back in time, hundreds of years maybe, and then in the future, hundreds of years. But I haven't developed that power quite,
Okay.
yet.
Listen,
So,
I love all the possibility with it, because that ties right back into that empaths portion and the attunement with the universe and the attunement with
mhm,
all these energies and stuff like that. It's like, if there's an incoming threat, okay, she could be aware of it potentially. If
mhm.
we got to learn from the past, she could tap into all this. So I really like all of the facets that you could go without having to necessarily do the traditional time travel. It's still, I'm learning from what happened before. I can make sure certain things don't happen, and then the course of the future and history can be changed. That's okay. I love it. I love all
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
So those were my last two questions. Of course, I want to end off and have you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can pick up Luna, number one, and of course, when they could, if you have a date, when they could expect to see Luna number two.
All right. Yeah. So I'm Moon the Storyteller. I'm the creator of Luna, the Queen of Maru, a title from Concrete Comics. So you can go to concretecomics.com and pick up a copy. Now, I think we're actually sold out on this first print run,
Oh,
but
snap.
reorders are coming soon. And you can also have the ability to order issue 1 and issue 2 in our upcoming Kickstarter. So right now we're working on the Kickstarter page. We're kind of putting all the finishing touches on it, and that whole process. You got to get it
Uh-huh.
reviewed by Kickstarter. But once we have a date, we will definitely let everyone know. So it's coming. Issue 2 is finished. I'm actually reviewing the letterers. The letterer just finished. I'm reviewing that, sending some edits back to her. And so, yeah, issue 2 is done. So it's just now a matter of putting the final touches on it, getting the Kickstarter page approved, and Luna issue 2 will be here before you know it. But if in the meantime, you can go to concretecomics.com to read it for free, join the Patreon. But if you don't want to join the Patreon, that's okay. You got to wait for it until we're back in stock. And then you
Listen.
can follow me. They can follow me on Instagram at Moon the Storyteller. I'm also on Facebook. There's a Facebook group called Superheroes in Full Color that I'm
Mhm.
also the owner of. So, and you're a moderator, you're an admin, I think, a moderator. So you got to post your stuff. All this stuff that you're doing, I want you could post your stuff too on that group.
Say less. Okay. Incoming.
Mhm.
Thank you. I think I think I was talking to Lonzo about it, but our daughter absolutely loves your stories. Personally, we love them, but she's read. We have all the covers, and she's picked up each of them. And was just like, It's the same one, Munchkin. I don't care. I don't care. So she's ready for number 2. She loves it. And me and Tasha, yeah.
I want you. I'm gonna send her a gift. I want to send her this card. So I want you to DM me y'all address and her name, her name and her address, so I can send her a card. Yeah.
She's gonna love
Don't
that.
tell her. Don't tell her.
Nope, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. I was gonna say me and Tasha was talking about this, and then we'll close out here. We're talking about how like literally what you're doing is kind of that future storytelling that we're trying to accomplish, right? The stories that you're telling, it's not tied to, and I think me and you had this conversation before too, where it was just like being able to tell a story outside of that current circumstance, right? Like everybody is, obviously we're expressing ourselves, we're showing stuff that, maybe retelling stuff that we've been through and stuff that's still tied to what we see every day. Luna is going like well beyond that. So I just want to say you're doing an outstanding job, and it is a breath of fresh air. So just keep up the great work with that.
Thank you. I'm just keeping up with y'all. Y'all have been an inspiration. I got the books. It's in my basket to read. Like I said, I've been supporting so many indie artists. I have like a stack of books I haven't even read. So, but y'all's are like number 2 in my to-do list. So,
Thank you.
Yes. I have I can't wait to dive in. Let me see if I can find it. I cannot wait to dive into it. It's over there. It made it to my nightstand. So actually,
let's go. One step closer.
Yeah, one step closer. So, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be hyping it up because I can't wait to dive into that story too.
Listen, and good news. The next one is already just needs to be letter for the gray. So that's number 3 is actually getting worked on right now.
Wow.
And so very excited for that one. Just trying to keep up with Concrete Comics. I don't know if you know that story. Initially, when we came out, I was just like, hey, I want more content. I want it now. I need to catch up to I saw Concrete. I was like, that's what I want to catch up to. That's what I want to catch up to. And that's a whole nother discussion and conversation and story time. But no, y'all have been an inspiration to us as well. So just thank y'all for what y'all are doing.
Likewise.
And to our listeners and everybody that's watching, obviously we're Midnight Comics. Definitely check us out on all of our social media where we're Midnight X Comics everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube, which we're just Midnight Comics on there. Don't forget to check out our Patreon where we obviously are going to be having these showcase first. There we have our community character creation nights and so much more over there. Midnight Adventures, the revamped version of it. Episode 1 is up. Rather, the prologue is up. Episode 1 is on the way. We have an awesome voice cast for that. Some familiar faces, Chris Fury and Kira Brown, and several others from Blurred's Eye View is on there as well. And I think that's it for this episode of Indie Breakdown. Definitely stay tuned for more. We have a bunch of awesome creators coming through. And again, thank you, Carla, for being on. And
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Absolutely. And remember, everybody, until next time, midnight is coming.
Bye.